In the endless expanse of space, there existed a distant world named Galmora, known across galaxies for its breathtaking landscapes and formidable warriors. Galmora was a society rooted deeply in honor, tradition, and strength, ruled by warrior kings whose lineage was said to flow from the very stars themselves. This civilization believed fiercely in destiny, strength, and legacy. It was here, beneath twin crimson moons, that King Eridan awaited the birth of his first child. He stood silently atop the vast palace balcony, his eyes fixed upon the glowing night sky, heavy with expectation. Never before had the great royal line of Galmora failed to produce a male heir. The destiny of the kingdom rested heavily upon his shoulders, yet fate had remained unusually silent. Within the palace, healers and attendants hurried in anxious whispers, their voices mingling with a subtle hum of sophisticated machinery. King Eridan's heart was restless, weighed down by tradition, yet clinging desperately to hope. When the moment finally arrived, the kingdom held its breath. A small, fragile cry pierced the anxious silence, echoing softly down the ornate hallways of the royal chambers. Eridan entered the softly illuminated room, his footsteps muted on polished marble floors. A healer approached cautiously, holding the infant wrapped delicately in shimmering royal fabric. The king's heart raced as he gently received the newborn into his arms, pulling back the cloth slightly to reveal her tiny face. A moment of absolute silence passed as his eyes met hers for the first time. Bright, curious, unafraid. In that instant, tradition shattered. It was a girl. As whispers spread rapidly through the palace, the atmosphere grew tense. Eridan could feel the weight of 1,000 expectations pressing upon him. Yet he felt a warmth unlike any he had ever known. Defiantly, softly, he whispered her name. Lyra. The news rippled through the palace, swiftly reaching the ears of his generals, men and women whose loyalty to tradition rivaled their allegiance to the throne itself. Gathered in secrecy beneath towering, shadowed statues of ancient kings, they murmured darkly among themselves. To them, the birth of a girl signified vulnerability, weakness. To them, it was an omen, signaling the end of Galmora's greatness. Generals Varnak, Isthara, and Tyrus stood in a secluded chamber, the glow of tactical holograms casting faint, shifting shadows across their faces. They had long been uneasy under Eridan's rule, quietly questioning his decisions, his softness. Now this unusual birth had given them justification to act. In their hushed conversation, a plan was born, a ruthless, calculated decision to seize control. Tradition dictated strength, and strength demanded action. For the first time, open rebellion seemed not only possible, but necessary. Yet unaware of the betrayal forming beneath his own roof, Eridan stood quietly beside his queen, gazing lovingly at their daughter, his mind heavy with complex emotions. Queen Lyra, calm and perceptive, placed a gentle hand on his shoulder, assuring him softly that perhaps this birth, despite breaking tradition, was destiny's true intention. In his heart, Eridan hoped she was right, but instinct warned him otherwise. Something dark and dangerous was rising in his own palace, an ancient hunger for power. Knowing time was short, Eridan made a difficult decision, one he had hoped never to face. Hidden deep beneath the palace in an ancient chamber known only to the royal line, he awakened an extraordinary being, an advanced artificial intelligence named Ruun. More than mere machinery, Ruun was an advanced shape-shifting guardian, entrusted with protecting the royal bloodline for generations. Speaking in low, desperate tones, Eridan commanded Ruun to protect Lyra at all costs. Knowing full well his kingdom was on the brink of chaos, he asked the faithful guardian to take his daughter far from Galmora, to raise her hidden amongst the stars. Without hesitation, Ruun accepted this grave duty, for in Ruun something stirred beyond mere logic, an echo of humanity, of compassion, perhaps even love. That night, as the crimson moons glowed fiercely, King Eridan watched from afar, his heart breaking silently, as Ruun, now appearing as a simple Galmoran citizen, carried the young princess aboard a hidden spacecraft. He stood motionless, watching the ship disappear into the vastness of space, swallowed quickly by the dark, shimmering curtain of stars. Eridan turned away, only when the distant lights of the ship vanished completely, leaving him in darkness, alone with his fears. And thus began Lyra's extraordinary journey, a story that would stretch across galaxies, breaking traditions, forging new legends. Her birth, beneath a crimson star, had forever altered the destiny of Galmora. But even as hope departed toward distant worlds, shadows rose swiftly behind it, eager to consume all Eridan held dear. As the hidden spacecraft traveled silently through the vast emptiness of space, Ruun carefully cradled Lyra, experiencing an unfamiliar sense of tenderness and protectiveness. Avoiding heavily monitored routes and interstellar patrols, they eventually reached Earth, a distant, primitive planet far removed from the cosmic conflicts raging across their own galaxy. Their landing was carefully concealed deep within a dense forest, far from human eyes. Ruun swiftly adopted a convincing human appearance, transforming Lyra similarly to blend seamlessly among Earth's inhabitants. They settled discreetly in a quiet village, nestled within misty mountains and lush forests, assuming the roles of father and daughter. The townspeople accepted them readily, unaware of their extraordinary origins. Yet, as Lyra grew, her exceptional strength and unnaturally sharp reflexes increasingly set her apart. Despite Ruun's efforts to maintain normalcy, by the time she reached age 10, villagers began noticing subtle but unmistakable differences. Lyra became isolated, struggling with her sense of identity, haunted by dreams filled with fleeting memories of her homeland, Galmora. Recognizing her need for deeper guidance, Ruun led Lyra on a journey high into remote mountains. Hidden amongst the bamboo groves and cloaked in perpetual mist, they discovered an ancient temple. Master Jiro, a legendary martial arts master known for his wisdom and combat prowess, resided there. Instantly sensing Lyra's immense potential, Master Jiro agreed to mentor her. Under Master Jiro's demanding tutelage, Lyra underwent rigorous and intensive training. She learned to harness her extraordinary powers and refine her combat skills. Still, the visions of Galmora persisted, bringing a sense of unresolved turmoil. Meanwhile, Galmora itself had plunged into darkness. Generals Varnak, Isthara, and Tyrus had violently overthrown the rightful rulers, implementing a ruthless regime marked by oppression and fear. Their paranoia grew with each passing day, prompting them to dispatch scout ships across star systems, intent on hunting down any remaining traces of King Eridan's lineage. Eventually, their relentless search brought the scouts to Earth, a quiet planet unsuspecting of impending danger. On Lyra's 16th birthday, this peaceful world was abruptly thrust into chaos as Galmoran scouts landed covertly, spreading fear and destruction in their wake. Faced with imminent danger, Master Jiro counseled Lyra to embrace her true heritage and destiny, urging her to rise as a warrior and leader. Determined and resolute, Lyra stepped forward to confront this new threat, fully prepared to defend her adopted home and confront the haunting shadows of her past under the solemn glow of the crimson moon.